Hey, what's up everyone? I got an exciting product review on the water for y'all today, and that is the Jenko Fishing Double Down BFS rod. Jenko Fishing reached out to me to do an honest review, therefore I will be completely honest with you about this rod. In fact, I'll be so honest, I'm gonna start off with my negatives, and note that it's the negative thing that I perceived this rod before even getting my hands on it, playing around with it, you know, casting a few times in front of my yard, and also talking to Jenko about this. So why don't we get started? I'll talk about those things that I didn't like at first, but now that I got it, well, I'm not gonna spoil it until, you know, we actually fully test it on the water, which is gonna happen today. What we'll do is we'll cast this various lures and maybe potentially even catch a few crappies in the late winter, right? So anyway, let's get started. What I want to talk about is when this first came out, I didn't want to get it because first and foremost, this rod was not really rated in a BFS sense, right? Although they say it's made for BFS fishing, right? The specs here, it was sketchy. I didn't really know what I'm expecting, right? They don't tell you the power of this rod, but you could guess it because, you know, the model number right there, right? It says right here is the BFS 6'6", 6'6" C for casting ML. ML stands for medium light, right? So it's a medium light rod, but it goes down to 1/80th of an ounce. That's very low. In fact, a lot of my other BFS stuff don't even go that low. And heck, even with a crazy reel like this right here, Daiwa Alpha's Air with a super light spool, I got the reset spool on, I was like, I'm not confident in throwing down 1/80th of an ounce, right? And I have something here we'll toss in a second. It's the 1/64th ounce trout magnet jig, and we'll see how it works. So I was in my driveway and I did like a flick, right? And I was like, whoa, wait a sec. Potentially this rod might be something amazing. So we're gonna find out today how this thing works, all right? But anyway, before we get started, let's go through some of the specs of this rod. I already went through the model number, right? I already told you that it's a medium light power rod, 6'6". It has a moderate fast action and it has a very, very nice bend to it. And they say this blend is made with Paratech technology, right? And I have no idea what that is, but based on what it says on the website, it's a blend. So I'm assuming it's a blend of graphite and glass, giving this a really, really nice bend, which you guys probably can't see right now. So I have to go ahead and show it on a GoPro or something like that. But yeah, it has a very, very nice bend, so it can load up really well. So now I'm super curious if I could cast this guy, okay? And this has Alps guide, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guides. The rod handle uses like a wind grip material, so it feels very tacky, grippy, and when it's wet, right, it's still super grippy, so you won't be scared of having the rod slip off you, all right? And I have the Daiwa Alpha's Air again, and I am holding it like this right now, and it feels very comfortable. So the reel seat feels nice. It's placed in a spot that's, I would say, perfect for my fishing. I like it, I enjoy it. And it has a bait holder right in the front, right there. All right, anyway, enough chit chat. Let's go out there and do some cast testing. Let's see how this thing goes. All right, folks, so the line that I have here on my Daiwa Alpha's Air TW, right, and my reset reel spool is Varivis, their Super Trout Advance Double Cross X8. And it's very thin stuff. I have, I believe it might be 0.6 gold or it might be thinner. I have to confirm, you guys see in the overlay. And then I have 4-pound sunlight in the front, and I have a 1/64th ounce trout magnet jig head, just a jig head. And let's see how this goes. See that? Not too bad. I think it's about 2 rod lengths, so it's not far at all. So I don't know if this thing could really do 1/80th ounce without, you know, compensating your cast. Like right now, I am not compensating it much, but it is going to the left just a little bit. So if I were to want it to go straight, I will have to compensate my cast. And yeah, and the lure is so light that it's kind of hard to whip it too. So yeah, I don't know if it could really go down to 1/80th, especially for the typical BFS folks without having, you know, a ultimate ultra finesse BFS reel, but I say it's possible. And I saw Hunter, he casted the mule 1/80th ounce jig, and you know, I believe he compensated a lot for that cast. In my opinion, if you have to compensate in your cast, it should not count at all. But you know, do crappie fishermen, especially using a medium light rod, really cast out light? The answer is no. And after talking to Jenko Fishing, I have found out something very interesting from crappie fishermen is that they don't account for the entire lure weight. They go with the jig weight. So right here, these are actually jig weights. So the 1/80th ounce on here, you need to add a piece of plastic to it. And of course, in a BFS realm, that is a no-no because we are very specific in what we want to throw. And we want everything very specific so that we understand the tackle that we purchase, right? The rod, reel, line, so that we go out there and just go out and fish. So very interesting, and I hope in the future, if Jenko continue to produce more BFS rods, that they account for the BFS folks in this specific way, because it's more accurate, you know? There's no guessing, right? Right now, with the specs, like I said, I didn't like it because you had to guess. But anyway, let me throw on a small little plastic on here, and let's give it another shot. So the plastic I'm putting on is the Euro Tackle EPF 1-inch swim, so it's not gonna add a lot of weight. It's probably just a little bit heavier than the trout magnet itself, so we'll say this is around the 1 gram, 1.1 gram level, all right? So let's give this a cast. All right, here we go. Okay, so at the 1 gram level, you could do this. Close range casting, so this is impressive, super impressive, and I can see that I will be slaying the crappies if I need to go this finessey later when we get to the main lake. It is actually windy, so I may have to go heavier, but as you see, that is good distance. It could be like maybe 3 rod length, 3.5 to 4, okay? So it's not too bad. Accuracy is there, okay? So yeah, definitely could do the 1 gram level. So this rod is actually super impressive. Oh man, I think I will be enjoying this rod because of the ability to cast this light lure. Although it's rated for medium light, wow. All right, let's put on a heavier lure and see how far it goes. All right, next lure we're throwing is the Euro Tackle B-Vibe 2-inch, and I have it on a 1/16th ounce jig head. So this is around the 2.5 to 2.6 grams total. This is my bread and butter. As if you guys watch all my videos, that's what I like to throw. And I gotta say, man, it's doing really well for what I like to cast. Wow, it's not too bad at all. And let's see again. All right, that's pretty good. Now, just note that I have a specific reel here that's tuned for ultralight and close range casting. If I were to put a different reel on, like a wider spool that would dispense more line per rotation, like the Aldebaran BFS 2016 with the Roro spool, right? Or even the stock spool at this weight right here, I should be able to cast even further than what's being portrayed here. But right now, I have to say this rod right here, loading up well on a cast, getting distance and accuracy for something that's like, this is good. This is really, really good. So far, I'm very, very impressed. Flying stars everywhere, man. Oh man. I think I don't need to cast anything that's heavier. I do have some heavier things to fish later from Jenko itself, but I want to go out there and hook some fish with this because right now I think it's time to finesse, and it is a little windy out there. So let's venture out there and do some casting. Let's hook up some fish and see how this rod bends, shall we? Let's go. Speak about rod bends, it's probably best to do some bends right now while we're here. Look at that. It bends pretty good. It's a soft bend, not like a heavy bend. Like, of course, some of my ultralight and light tackle rod, I could bend it like this too, right? But those, I gotta put a little bit more force because a lot of my graphite rods are all fast tips. My Suinoid Dragon is more of a moderate, but still have kind of a faster tip than this. But yeah, as you see, this thing has a beautiful bend to it. Very easy to bend down this much. So no wonder I could cast those light lures very easily because the rod actually loads up and allow me to cast just like that. Anyway, let's go slay some fish right now because I'm looking out there. It's pretty windy. I think I'm gonna keep this finesse game for a little bit, and perhaps we'll put on some heavier lures in a bit. All right, got some backwater fishing here. Just casting into specific spots right now, and doggy chill out. I have to say, accuracy is there. You know, I'm trying to throw this little jig near those trees right there. I got it right next to it, thumbed it right in time before it hit the log itself. Hoping that there, you know, could be a fish or two hiding there. But yeah, I think this time of year, most of the fish are out in the open. Some will definitely be in some of these tree structure area, like perhaps that bigger one right there. Or one or two bass might be isolated here, potentially some pickerels as they usually here. Ooh, look at that, thumbed it right on time. Yeah, I am liking the casting of this. I think the crappie fishermen will enjoy this rod, especially if they're new to BFS. They could continue throwing what they typically throw, you know. And I have to say, I fish a lot of shallow waters, and I know a lot of people. Oh, here's a fish right there. First fish, first fish. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, came off. But that, I think it could have been a bass. That thing was bending really well. But what I want to say was, I know a lot of crappie fishermen who fish like deeper water. They use 1/8 ounce jig heads, right? And plastic. So I do want to throw one or two of that a little later. I don't do that here because, like I said, it's it's gonna hit the bottom and I'm gonna get those nasty muck. But wow, that rod right there, it bent pretty well, and I felt the bite, the tap. I wouldn't say it's as sensitive as graphite rods, like, you know, with fast tip. But if the rod loads up, especially when you have a nice bite, it'll bend down. You'll feel the pressure anyway. So, yeah, let's keep fishing and test it a little bit further. There's a fish right there. I bumped into fish, but they're not biting. Interesting. That's a fish right there. Oh yeah, crappie time. Here we go. First crappie, let's go. It definitely bends pretty good. I have to say the sensitivity on this, it's a little bit better than I thought. So let's keep fishing, and I'll report back how I feel later. Look at that. I found like a immense freaking school of crappies and whatnot right here. Oh, a bite right there. Yeah, they're nipping very lightly. So I'm feeling them. I'm feeling them. I might have to use a float for these slow bites, maybe use a smaller lure, right? But this is good. I'm gonna just comb the water, look for that active fish rather than, you know, go for the small guys. Overhead casting, not too bad too. But typically for the lighter lures, you don't want to overhead cast, but this is okay. You know, this weight right here should be okay. And I got a fish. Woot woot. It's a bass. Right in the trees. There we go. Look at that. Double down. Let's go. 2 species so far. With the longer butt rod here, you could use 2-hand casting, give it a bit more power if you need it. But with BFS, you should be casting lighter. But if you have like the bigger BFS reels, bigger spools, and you're throwing like a heavier lures, potentially, you know, it could give you some advantage casting a little further. I also like it because I could clamp out on the side. So for those who like to use you know, vertical jigging presentation, you have a long butt right here. You clamp it on the side, right? Go over with whatever electronics you have over a specific structure. And as you all know, using a bait caster type reel is actually a lot easier to control, manage the line when you're vertical jigging. So even if you don't want to cast, right, this is still good for that type of fishery. So this is a pretty good rod for Jenko fishing, you know, the first BFS rod. It's like an all-rounder, right? It allows their existing fishing fans to use it for vertical jigging, or, you know, if they want to try casting, they should be able to cast as well when they pair it up with the, you know, with the BFS reel. All right, folks, the next lure is a homemade jig that I tied marabou feathers. As you see, it's multicolored, but I tied it on a 1/16 ounce jig head. Let's give this a sling, see how it goes, and see if we catch some more crappies. It's been tough throwing that bee vibe, so hair jig is really, really good for cold water situation. And what I like about marabou is that I like to tie them long, and I have to, I'll pinch off make it a little shorter. See that? You just pinch it off and change the size on the fly. Let's go. There we go. Here we go. Jig it up, my friends. Look at that. The hair jig on a float. Oh yeah, that battle was pretty good. Pretty darn good. I mean, look at this guy. He's beefy. Off he goes. All right, changing it up. Last lure for the day. We got the Whirly Twirly 1/16 ounce jig head, but it's a little heavier than that because of the hardware you see here. It's basically a prop jig. And I got their little swim bait. Tickle fry, 2 inches, all right? So I'm gonna put this on the side. Oh yeah, I can see that it is spinning and also paddling at the same time. So anyway, this total weight here is, I would say, it's, probably closer to the 3 grams. So this is the heavier and the heaviest lure I'll be throwing for today. And let's do it. Distance, woo, that's pretty good. Now this winter mode, water temperature right now is 46 degrees. I don't know if they want to bite this, but we'll give it a shot. You know, maybe some pickerel slam it, maybe some bass will want to slam it. But yeah, so far the crappie's been a really slow bite today. Maybe I just need to find out where they're at, and potentially we'll get some with this guy here. We'll just call him the water, and hopefully we'll get some active one. But casting this guy here, because the lure is heavier, I can feel the rod actually bending and loading up compared to the lighter lures. Like, it loads up really well. But I am marking a lot of fish around this area, so I'm gonna give it a shot. It's a little noisy by the road. But as you see, the casting is pretty good. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, if I were to have a bigger BFS reel, right, throwing some of the heavier stuff, I could get a little further, and I may do that sometime in the near future. Here we go. That is a good fish. I think it might be a pickerel. Right by the tree. Oh my gosh. He's in the tree. That's not good. He's wrapping me up. There you go. Came out. Wait, is that bass? Mondo bass. Oh my gosh. Mondo freaking bass. Whirly twirly. Oh my gosh. This is insane. Epic. Epic. Ah. Hiding right behind this tree a second ago. Come on, get back up. Get up, get up. Look at this monster. Monster. Oh, no, he's right behind me. Come on, come on. Yes. Oh my gosh. Dude, this guy be like close to 5-pounder. Big bucket mouth. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Ah, look at that huge freaking bass. This is amazing. Ho, 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 ho. Dude, folks, look at this Mondo bass hiding right by the tree. Huge freaking bass. Oh yeah. Yeah, look at that. Woo, let's go. 4.4-ish, all right? Woo. One last look. Thank you for the fight. Bye-bye. Here we go. Whoa, come on. I got nipped twice and then boom. I see a lot of stuff there. I think I found them. found the crappies. Nope, I found the bass. School of bass today. They want this windblown area. Okay, and they're loving this thing. Woo. Here we go. Small guy, but still fun. Yeah, I'm marking a lot of fish right by this wrap area earlier, like a few times already. Boom. Oh, wow. All right, this place right here, it's gonna generate me a few more bites. That's bite right there. That's bite right there. You see how my rod tip is loading up? Yes. Look at that. Got a crappie. All right, dude, off you go. Fish. Oh yeah. This might be a big one. A crappie, that is. Oh yeah. Got a white crappie. Definitely a big guy. Look at that. Sweet. All right, off he goes. All right, folks, I'm ready to wrap up today cast testing session with the double down. Jenko fishing, woo, thank you for this rod. I am loving it. So just to recap what I said in the beginning, yes, at first I was skeptical about this rod. I didn't want it because, you know, I didn't feel comfortable with the rod ratings, right? But after trying it and everything, I think this is a really, really good rod for crappie fishing. Now, back to the specs for a second. Yeah, I don't think this rod is made to cast that low, right? I had to compensate some of my casting in order to go to the 1/64th ounce, but I don't think crappie fishermen will be throwing that light anyway. But I do wish that if Jenko continues to go down the route of BFS rods, right, making more rods or continue to produce this, is to change the rating so it's more accurate, so it aligns to the BFS style. Because, you know, when you want to pick up a rod, you want to be accurate as possible. It kind of appalled me a little bit hearing that the crappie industry, they take a jig, right, and add a plastic, and they don't know what the total weight is, right? But you know, as a crappie fisherman, that was never the case for me. I always try to figure out what the weight is so that I match the right rod power, right? So even before BFS fishing, when I was doing spinning stuff, I always try to use lures rated for that specific rod and reel setup, right? So that's the only negative thing I have for this rod. Other than that, you know, if you're planning to throw 2 grams and up, you know, like good distance, you know, acceptable fishing distance, right? This is it. Like, you can still do 1/16 ounce if you have a really, really good BFS reel, but I don't think a lot of crappie fishermen, ooh, spider, get away, would do anything that low, right? And a lot of crappie fishermen don't fish as shallow water as I do, and they probably go even heavier, right? But everything about this rod, you know, how it casts, how it loads up really well, how it bends really well when you're catching fish, like catching that big bass, woo, it kept them pinned. It kept them pinned really well. And yeah, I'm loving it. So Jimbo will definitely be using this rod a lot more this season. So if you want to get this rod, you guys check out the links in the description below. Obviously, you get it from Jenko Fishing, their website, and Bait Finesse Empires. So yeah, stay tuned for more videos of Jimbo fishing the Jenko Double Down. I hope you have enjoyed this on the water review of this rod. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. The fish don't wait. Get out there because the crappie bite is picking up. Let's go.